Hello and welcome to PMP Pre-Exam in a nutshell. I am Muhammad Radi, Director of Project Metric Solutions. In this session, we are on the planning process group, and the knowledge area is project cost management. We are going to get the cost management plan. Our methodology here, we go by initiating process group, then we go by planning till we finish up to closing process group. The last session we talked about how to develop the scope management plan, requirement management plan, and the scope baseline. Then we have to get the schedule management plan to accomplish my project, and then I gonna get the schedule baseline. Now, for the project management plan, we got this. We are going to focus on how to develop the cost management plan and the cost baseline. It is three processes here to plan the cost management and estimate costs and determine budget. The learning objective, if we are going to focus only on the planning process groups, then we are going to see how to plan cost management, how to estimate cost, how to determine budget. But in the monitoring and controlling process group, which we are not going to focus at this session, how to control the cost. What to study? I'd like you to focus on the constituents of the project management plan. So we are going to get the cost management plan, the cost baseline, and for in terms of the documents, we are going to get activity cost estimate, basis of estimate, and then the project funding requirements. Now, how we are going to get the cost project plan? The cost management plan it addresses the following: the roles and responsibility of the project manager, the project sponsor, the stakeholders, the teams, who have the authority and responsibility for cost management, who track the cost processes, who evaluated, who does approve acceptance of the project budget, how the cost is defined, how do we estimate costs and track them, how to ensure the budget fits and the final cost. Now, what the inputs and the tool and techniques and the outputs. And the inputs we are going to use here, the project management plan. What's in there? The scope baseline, the schedule baseline. We are going also to use the project charter, and we are going to use the enterprise environmental factors, organization process assets, enterprise environmental factors. We're going to use their software. Organization, we're going to see what the policies and the process. In terms of tool and technique, we are going to use the expert judgment to use his experience to direct us in accomplishing the cost products in terms how to plan for the cost management, meetings, brainstorming, and then analytical technique. That the output here, cost management. The next step here are going to get the estimate the cost. What the purpose is aggregating estimated cost of individual activity or work package to establish an authorized cost baseline. There is aggregating also the estimated cost to establish a cost performance baseline to measure the project performance. What the tool and technique here when we are going to use the estimate cost, first, we have to know the purpose. It is cost of identified resources and duration estimated to complete the project and its documented activities in activity list. The inputs here, the scope baseline, the project schedule, the human resources I'm going to use. Risk register, this is output of identify the risk, enterprise environmental factors, organization process assets, and your cost management plan. Then tool and technique, I'd like you to focus on the five parameters: analogous estimating, parametric estimating, bottom-up estimating, 3-point estimating reserve analysis. What the output we're going to get, activity cost estimate, basis of estimate, and then we are going to update the project document. What to study here? There is types of estimate and range of accuracy and when we are going to use it and other terms. I'd like you to use to or focus on the numbers here in the range of accuracy. So if you need their level or their range of accuracy between minus 25 to plus 75%, then you are talking about the rough order of magnitude at the initiating phase. But if you're gonna get minus 10 range of percentage range of accuracy to plus 25%, then you are talking about the process of planning. If more accurate, it's gonna use minus 5 to plus 10 for the real actual project codes. And here the tables of when to be used and other terms. And what also to study the tool and technique. I told you about the tool and technique, the analogous estimating, parametric estimating, bottom-up estimating, the 3-point estimate, which is called a PERT, and the reserve analysis. We have contingency reserve and the management reserve. The reserve analysis try to study the cost baseline, which is equal the contingency reserve plus the project estimate, and then know the difference between cost baseline and the cost budget, which is the cost budget is equal the management reserve and the cost baseline. And do you know the difference between contingency reserve and management reserve? The next step here, I'd like you to go for with what to do on determine budget. What the purpose? It, you are going to develop a time-phased budget or a cost baseline. Why? To monitor and control the cost performance and to manage contingency reserve amount enough to finish your project. Now, what the tool and technique and the inputs and the outputs, you're going to have to determine the budget and to get the cost baseline, you are need to get the cost management plan, the scope baseline, the project schedule, activity cost estimate, basis of estimate, resource calendar, agreements with other company, and organization process assets and risk register. Your tool and technique here, your cost aggregation, reserve analysis, and your expert judgment, historical relationship, funding limit reconciliation. This the output here, the cost baseline, the main output of when you determine budget is cost baseline. As you can see here, most of the baseline coming from the last step in the planning. If you revise with me the scope baseline, in which step we got the cost, the scope baseline, you will see it is the last step when in the scope management. Tips for the exam. This is the time actually for you to know the difference between to know what is the scope baseline, which process produces the scope baseline, and which processing group you develop the scope baseline, and which knowledge area you see the scope line. The same thing we are going to talk about the schedule baseline, which process produce the schedule baseline, which processing group you develop the schedule baseline, and which knowledge area you schedule baseline. The same thing with this cost baseline, which process produces cost baseline, which processing group you develop the cost baseline, and which knowledge area you see the cost baseline. If you didn't get this answer right, then you have to restudy again, and focus on the process and the processing group and the knowledge area. Another thing here, the scope baseline includes which of the following? You have project scope statement or plus work breakdown structure plus the dictionary, or it is activity list, milestone, activity attributes, or it is project scope statement activity list, milestone, or it is milestone, uh, project scope statement, and work breakdown structures. Please, if you did not get the question right, then I advise you to start all over again. Now, what the next step here? What is the next step to after to determine budget? You are going to plan the quality management. Now, we developed the project management plan in terms of the scope baseline, the scope management plan, and we got the um, schedule management plan, and we got the cost management plan. Now we are going to incorporate quality management. What our next video? The next video will be on the planning process group and about the quality management, on how to plan quality management for your project, how to perform the quality assurance, how to control quality. But we are going to focus only on the how to plan the quality management in the planning process group. If you like my video, please subscribe, share, and go to my website, Project Metric Solution. Go to resources and download any links you find useful for you. Thank you.